Hello, everyone. We are glad to see you, and today with you is Neomatica company. Let's remind you that we are Russian producer of GPS devices, trackers, wireless and wired, different wireless sensors, wireless immobilizer. And today with you will be Larisa Starkova and Dima Sitnikov. And our webinar is devoted to our new devices that have got Bluetooth Long Range technology. So I suppose that everyone who wanted to join has already done it. So let's start with our presentation. And the first slide is devoted to general topic, Bluetooth Low Energy BLE and Bluetooth Long Range BLE LR. What does it mean? We would like to emphasize that Bluetooth Long Range is not equal to Bluetooth 5. It means that, for example, some trackers that have Bluetooth 5 may not work with the accessories that has Bluetooth Long Range. It also it is the same with your smartphone. To check it, whether your smartphone can work with an accessory of Bluetooth Long Range, you should recommend you to download from Google Play a program, special program, RF Nordic Connect, and to find out if your smartphone works with such technology or not. So let's turn to Bluetooth Long Range. And the main difference is that Bluetooth Long Range is more stable than Bluetooth Low Energy, and the signal is transmitted over longer distances. And this distance can be even up to 1,000 meters. Of course, it depends on the settings, but anyway, 1,000 meters it is possible. So now we will show you our new devices that have such a technology, and we would like to show you these devices in reality. Now we will stop our presentation a bit, and I would like to show you, to start with our new sensor, wireless sensor ADM 35. This is a renewed version of our old ADM 31, and you can see that it has got different modifications, 3 modifications. This sensor is to monitor temperature, illumination, and hall sensor, to monitor doors closing and opening. Then we have such a modification to monitor humidity, and such ADM 35 with a measuring element on a cable. This sensor also monitor, with the sensor you can also monitor temperature. And you see that this sensor is shipped in such a nice cotton box. So you see that the design of this sensor changed a lot. Now it has got external measuring element. The battery also has changed. It is more powerful. So now it is more precise and more responsive to temperature changes. So you already know our wireless immobilizer ADM 33. Now it also has got Bluetooth Long Range technology. And our new device, this is ADM 30, our BLE base. And this is a kind of adapter between Bluetooth Low Energy or Bluetooth Long Range and interface RS485. So we can move to our presentation, and you can see the table of different technical features of these devices, and I will emphasize just some the most important. All of these devices have two modes: Bluetooth low energy, it is by default, and Bluetooth long range. It means that you can switch to Bluetooth long range while configuring any device of such device. Well, you see that the coverage is wider now, and as I've already said, this new sensor has got more powerful battery, and we can guarantee you from its life up to 3 or more years. What else? You can see that all these devices have IP65 keys, so they are rather tight, and they are compact and rather precise. So let's move to our sensor ADM 35. As I've already told, that this is a kind of improvement. This is an improvement of our old ADM 31. We have gathered different feedbacks from our clients, and that the old version was not so precise, not so responsive. That is why we changed the design, also made this measuring element external. And now this device is you can have it in different modifications. And now we can show you, well, you see on this slide that the first, this sensor ADM 35 is used to monitor temperature, illumination, and Hall sensor. There is no here humidity. And then you can have such a modification of this temperature sensor with a measuring element on a cable, and this cable is waterproof, made of silicone, and it can be up to 2 meters. And it is very convenient to be used in such areas or places where the whole sensor is not cannot be put inside, so you can put only this small measuring element inside and put this sensor as much as closer to the tracker. So the signal will be stable, more stable, and you will be able to monitor, to measure temperature as much as possible, as closer to the product you want to monitor. Well, and the third modification is with such external element covered with plastic, ABS plastic. It is used to monitor humidity. Also, you can monitor the sensor temperature, illumination, Hall sensor, but the data will be not so precise as when we talk about this modification. So now we can switch to tests we've done, and maybe Dima will help me.
Yeah, as Larissa have already said, as she already mentioned, we collect all the feedback you, our partners, our clients, our friends brought us, and we tried to figure out what features, what nuances, what parameters we need to improve to make it better, maybe to maintain them in the same way, to be more suitable for you in every possible moment, in every possible case. So basically, there are three of them. First of all, the precision of the sensor, especially temperature sensor. ADM 31 was small, and it was good for it because internal sensor that ADM31 were equipped with allowed us to get, I think, the most suitable and pretty good time of temperature response among all of the temperature sensors with internal sensor that we have tested, that we have checked, that maybe our partners have worked with, but still the thermal conductivity of ADM31 was maybe not the best, and in some cases, in some projects, you need to have more precise and more and faster reaction to the temperature changes. This is why we thought about this, and we made ADM35 as the sensor with external measuring element. Larissa have already shown it, and I think we'll make it again. Even though ADM35 is bigger, even though it's heavier, the external measuring element allowed us to make really good dynamic in the temperature response. As you can see from these two charts, these two graphs, there are, at least as for me, significant difference and really positive changes. Here we can see how ADM31 behavior when they were located in the freezing room, where the temperature came lower and lower. And these two lines, these two graphs are connected with ADM35 and digital one-wire sensor that we found as the maybe best reference, best challenger for our ADM35 to be compete with. And here you can see that the difference between very small, very conductive one-wire sensor, it was BS18B20, as you can see from Dallas Maxim. The difference between such a little thing and this wireless temperature sensor is really good. It's almost nothing, and the dynamic when we compare ADM31 to ADM35 is just impressive. Yes, maybe impressive. At least I hope it is so for you as it is for me. So yes, these ADM35 shows great temperature response time, and we really hope that we will be able to improve it even more. ADM35 is equipped with a special precisive sensor that allows you, as you maybe already saw, to catch the temperature in the with the fluctuation of not more than 0.3 degrees of Celsius. Yes. So the second thing that we try to figure out is coverage. BLE technology allowed us to have 100 meters of coverage in direct line of sight. with pretty good quality, but still, when we are talking about some refrigerators, some freezing rooms, some other type of vehicles with a lot of metallic obstacles, or maybe some additional walls, some additional obstacles that may affect on the signal quality, that may absorb it, that may make it weaker and weaker. Sometimes BLE was not the great solution in this case. Here you can see our coverage tests, our coverage field tests that was conducted. And the first object here is the receiver that gathers signal from all three sensors that we have tested, all three sensors and configurations. The first sensor is ADM 31 with general, casual, simple BLE regime BLE technology utilized. It allows us to catch the signal in the distance of 100 meters, maybe 110, but still the difference is not as crucial as we wanted, maybe. ADM 35, this sensor can be configured to send all the data with more power, with more transmitter power, and it allows us to gain more coverage. It gave us 50 more meters, so it's 150 meters instead of 100 meters for ADM 35 with still this casual BLE technology utilized. And finally, ADM 35 with Bluetooth Long Range technology activated with the highest possible transmitter power. It gave us just amazing results with almost 550 meters in direct line of sight. Basically, frankly speaking, I think we could got even more, but there are just no way to move our sensor further. So I think it could be 1,000 meters. It could be 1 kilometer of coverage of ADM 35. So yes, in this case, in current situation, all our tests have shown us that there is no such common, at least common for sure, situation, common obstacle, common vehicle, trailer or something like that, that cannot be covered by ADM 35 with Bluetooth Long Range activated on it. And yes, and the last one is battery. This general table shows you the most significant moments, most maybe interesting comparison topics where we could think what's the difference between ADM 31 and ADM 35. So as you can see from it, battery capacity of ADM 35 is increased to 2,700 milliampere hours. So the operation time with one battery is increased from up to 1 year in case of ADM 31 to from 3 years. So our tests our calculations shows that 3 years is the lowest border, the lowest threshold of the battery lifetime of ADM35. Basically, if you will choose more energy saving or energy efficient configuration of transmitter, of frequency of data time sending, you will be able to get even more than 3 years. Also, I think I need to talk about it. Come back to ADM31 for just a short period of time. We still support ADM31. We still think that it's good and it can be used in certain projects. And if you have this device and maybe met some issues, some strange behavior of your power supply element of your battery, please update your device to the latest firmware. Our ADM BLE configurator allows you to make it without any files downloading, without any special strange and very hard to manage software utilizing. You just need to connect your sensor to your cell phone, start the ADM BLE configurator, press on the firmware update button, and everything will be done. The latest update that we have released recently will allow you to get more battery lifetime. We made some changes, and we really hope that it will be good for you, and it will be good for the sensor also. I think we need to maybe mention some other additional features of ADM35 that have that you can see here in this table, in the design maybe section.
You should look at the design of this new ADM35 sensor. Well, as we've already mentioned, it has external measuring element. It has got magnets for mounting, and they are rather strong. Well, you can put it on metallic surfaces. If you use other surfaces, you can use screws or double-sided adhesive tape. Well, and this sensor also has got spaces if you need to put seals, because some of our clients needed this for our formal old ADM31. Now this sensor has got such spaces. You can put seals anywhere you want. And one nice feature for this modification of the sensor is that with the help of cabled measuring element, you can monitor temperature up to 110 degrees Celsius. It is possible. Well, this is the battery. Now, changed battery. So you can see that we've considerably improved our old sensor, and now it is more precise and more responsive, and the response can be from 5 to 10, 15 maximum minutes. Well, now let's move.
I think we can check the chat because I see a couple of questions. Can the ADM35 be sent by Bluetooth connections on a standard mobile phone as well? Yes, it can be. You can utilize casual Bluetooth low energy mode to be able to work with ADM35 if your smartphone is not, the latest one, or maybe just not equipped with the most modern and most progressive Bluetooth models. but we experiencing a couple of devices that shows just great performance with ADM 35, sorry, ADM 35 when we are talking about Bluetooth Long Range technology utilizing. And I have mentioned above the program Nordic NRF Connect. You can upload it from the Google Play Store. It's very simple. And in settings of this program, you can find if your cell phone can generally work with long range, and using this program, you can find a good device to work with ADM 35 in long range mode if you want. Do you have any gateways or readers to set up mesh networks for sensing various BLR sensor? Actually, we have a kind of gateway, and we will talk about it a little later, just I think in a couple of minutes. How many sensors per device?
I suppose that sensors, by sensors you mean measuring elements. Okay. How many sensors per device?
Maybe.
If measuring elements, this one you can measure the temperature, illumination, doors opening. This one you can measure humidity as well, temperature, illumination, doors opening. If I understand quite well the last question.
I think maybe Ron will clarify it a little for us if we have understood him not quite right. Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on to our well-known to everyone ADM 33 immobilizer. Now this version of our immobilizer has got by default Bluetooth Low Energy, and if you want to use Bluetooth Long Range, you can enable it while configuring the device. Well, how to use it? To configure this immobilizer, you should download our ADM BLE configurator from Google Play, configure it, set up, and if you want to use it as an autonomous device, you should also download as well from Google Play our other end-user application ADM Immobilizer. This application allows you to manage a startup or block of the electrical circuit from your smartphone. Well, let's move on to another slide.
And I think we also could, we also can say that we are planning to have little updates of ADM 33 in the nearest future, except the Bluetooth Long Range, as Larissa have already mentioned. We will also add analog input here to make it even more flexible than it is right now.
Mm-hmm. So now we move on to our new device. This is BLE base. This is a kind of adapter between BLE or BLE Long Range and interface RS485. What does it mean? It means that if you want to use our BLE wireless sensors with a tracker that doesn't have BLE, you can do it with the help of this device. And you can connect to this base up to 255 BLE devices, BLE sensors. It doesn't mean that only of our brand ADM sensors, but also fuel level sensors of Technoton, Escort, Mechatronics. And it doesn't mean that only our trackers without BLE. Also, for example, Tiltonica, different kinds of trackers without BLE, but those that have interface RS 485 that transmit data via that have LLS Omnicom protocol. So let's move to another slide. So here on this slide, you can see that all these devices can be managed from your smartphone. For this purpose, you should use our ADM BLE configurator that you can download from Google Play. And here you can see different menus, how they look like for different devices. Our devices. You can see how the menu looks like for our sensors, ADM 32, 31, previous 35, 35H. H means that it has humidity.
Yeah.
This we decided to make different models. So this model is ADM 35 without humidity, and with humidity is ADM 35H. So next menu is for our base, and the last one is for our immobilizer. Well, so you can use our sensors without a tracker. And from this application, ADM BLE configurator, you can monitor different parameters. You can download and generate reports. They will be in the form of table, and you can also record and save these tables and also look through the history in your smartphone or your laptop or your computer. So let's move to another slide. This slide shows you that if you want to use our sensors with our BLE trackers, you can do the following. By can do, I mean that you can connect the sensors using 3 ways. You can configure and connect sensors by commands via SMS. Or you can use GPRS. It means that you can integrate it from your monitoring platform. And the third version is that you can use our ADM configurator, but you should enable switch on Bluetooth, or whether on your computer, whether on your smartphone. So these are 3 ways how to integrate all these wireless devices with our wireless trackers. We have ADM 007 BLE. It is rather simple, basic, without internal battery, and more complex ADM 333 new version. Now it is 2-in-1 device. It has got, you can connect to this tracker wireless or wired accessories. So let's move to another slide. Here you can see, as I've already described and told, that to connect wireless sensors, it doesn't matter whether of our brand or of other brands, Escort, Technoton, Nicotronics. You should use our base, and it receives data from any BLE sensor connected to this base and transmits it to the tracker without BLE, but with RS 485. So it transfers data, and the tracker has an opportunity to receive the data from BLE accessory. So our next slide is devoted to integration of this of our wireless and not our other wireless sensors with our wireless base ADM 30, and with any tracker without BLE with RS 485. What should you do? you configure ADM30 base using our ADM BLE configurator that you already seen, then you connect here the sensors you need, then connect this base to the tracker and configure it by GPRS or SMS or Bluetooth using your smartphone or your computer or your laptop. So everything, the process is simple. If you don't know how to do anything, you can always write and contact our technical support Dima, and he will always help you. Well, and we would like to end.
Maybe we can stop for a while and check.
Okay. Can you only read one temp per device?
Run. I'm afraid we still have some issues in our communication. Can you only read one temp per device? You mean not to work.
Answer my question.
Okay.
Okay. You can write us and be more precise.
Yes, if someone have any question, please do not hesitate to write it in chat, in QA section. If you are more comfortable to communicate with us within the YouTube, there is a translation, a stream here. So we also check it, and we will be able to answer you anywhere. So please feel free to ask any question, because Bluetooth Long Range and Bluetooth Low Energy and this whole thing is pretty complicated. It's not so easy to manage, and we will be happy to maybe bring little clarification there.
Maybe Ron meant how many sensors per device, how many sensors can we connect to one tracker?
See the run set up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Amazing.
we can connect up to 8. No?
Up to 8 sensors.
Up to 8 different sensors.
Yes, exactly.
And let's move to our field, to the fields where you can use our sensors, wireless sensors. The fields are the same as they were for our old, for example, ADM31, but now it is wider because we have different modifications, for example, of our ADM35, and you can use it in such places where a whole sensor, you cannot put a whole sensor inside. So you can use, let's see our table, use our sensors in refrigerators, trucks with perishable food, goods, medicine. What we offer you, our solution is to use our sensor ADM35, then you use BLE tracker. You can use not a BLE tracker, but any tracker with RS-185, then, but with our base ADM30, that is a kind of adapter between two technologies, and use a platform. You can also monitor temperature, humidity in refrigerators, stationary objects in malls, factories, big stocks. You can use our ADM35, and it can also be in the measuring element can be in a cable. And you can use our free mobile application, ADM BLE configurator, and manage this sensor from your smartphone. It is very convenient. You also will be able to generate tables, to generate reports, and look through the history, the different parameters at different times. So, of course, fuel management, you can use BLE tracker, or as I've said, tracker without BLE, but then you should use our ADM30 base and BLE fuel level sensor, a Scott BLE, Technoton, Mechatronics, and a platform. Then you can use our sensors in trailers, towed vehicles, and of course, anti-theft solution with our immobilizer. You can use it as an autonomous device or with a tracker, and to look through the history, to manage the device from your platform. So this was all for our presentation now, and we are ready to answer your questions, and we have them.
Yeah. What
will happen if we connect 60 BLE Long Range to the hub, but in a small area, for example, 10 meters area, will we get congestion of the signals?
We have tested our BLE base in very similar stations, in very similar, circumstances where we actually had more. It was, if I'm not mistaken, 120 sensors in one room, and part of them, frankly speaking, I cannot remember how many of them were connected to the hub. It was a little less than 60, but maybe it was 45, something like that. And there were no problem, because BLE base and whole BLE solutions, they works actually quite good, even if there are really a lot of them within some pretty small place, within some pretty small space. But we only need to be sure that they work good together. So if some of the BLE or BLR devices that we want our hub to work with are not supported by it at the moment, we will be happy firstly to check general things like if they can work good at all, if they are compatible within the signal and stuff like that. And if these tests will be good, there is no problem to connect 60 devices to the hub or even more.
Okay, what other question?
Yes.
As Larissa and Dima, ADM BLE Long Range 35 can be used as an equipment identifier within a logistical distribution center, where we manage machines, forklifts, and palletas. How would he assess it, and what equipment would be required? Thank you, Eduardo. EcoTruck.
Yes, Eduardo, it can be used as identifier, because the idea actually is pretty simple. ADM 35 has its own unique identifier, MAC address, and according to it, we can strongly bind the MAC address to some forklift, to some machine, to some vehicle, or some object, some package that you want to monitor, to trace, and detect, for example, by means of hub or by means of tracker, if this object is in the area of the coverage or not. So it was, kind of discrete monitoring, but it's basic solution. And in such design, yes, it can be used and it will be pretty simple. If you want to realize something more flexible, something more unique, and maybe something more intellectual, we also can for sure try to make it and try to discuss such projects. But in this case, we need to, know more about what especially would you like to do, what especially would you like to realize with such means, utilizing ADM 35 as some kind of identifier.
So any other questions? Well, we are waiting if we have any.
I think we can finalize our presentation with maybe recollecting of the most important moments of it. So basically, Neomatica starts to produce Bluetooth Long Range devices. Long range allows us to gain more coverage, more stable signal with better quality. Long range at the moment can be detected by our BLE base and by our mobile application installed on the proper prepared cell phone. We are developing our Bluetooth Long Range tracking device at the moment, and maybe we will announce it one day, but it's not that day. iOS application, it's amazing idea. As for me, I strongly agree with you that it will be very nice, but at the moment there are a lot of restrictions within the iOS, within the Apple devices, that cannot allow us to realize all things that we wanted. For example, our Bluetooth application for sensors, for example, just cannot be used to work with long-range devices if we will install it on iOS devices, because Bluetooth Long Range is just prohibited to use even for iOS developers. iOS developers, for sure I meant persons and companies that develop applications for iOS. Only Apple programmers, people who wrote the operation system by itself, can rule this thing, and we cannot. We also will be happy to make something like end user application for our ADM 33, like we showed you there. Still, it's also cannot be realized as easy as we wanted, because broadcasting is really tricky, hard, and actually problematic thing when we are talking about iOS. The only thing I can tell you that iOS application will appear for sure. Maybe it will be not as flexible and as and equipped with such flexible functionality as Android, but we are working on it and we'll make it.
So, any other questions? Well, then we thank you all for having time, finding time to join our webinar, and we welcome your calls, your questions. You can always contact us by mail, phone, WhatsApp, Viber, Telegram, any way of communication. And thank you all for your attention, and see you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.